Good morning. I'm Ed McNeil, Marketing and Communications Director for the City of Winston-Salem, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the Benton as we gather to celebrate the graduation of Winston-Salem Fire Department's Class 25. Please rise as the recruits from Class 25 enter the room and remain standing as the Fire Department's Honor Guard presents our national colors, followed by the singing of the national anthem by Winston-Salem Police Officer Florette Gregory Phillips. We ask that you place your right hand over your heart at the order to present arms, and you remove it only after the order to order arms. Please rise.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight over the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave over the land of the free and the home
Thank you. Please be seated. Chaplain Nathan Klein will bring our invocation this morning. Chaplain?
Let's pray together. God, thanks for the opportunity to gather this morning to celebrate the accomplishments of these men and women. Thank you for the path that you have guided them down to arrive here today. For the parents, the spouses, the family, and the friends that have given them support and love and encouragement all along the path. God, I pray that as they embark on this incredible journey, that they would know that every day they have the opportunity to make an impact, to change lives, and to leave this city in a better place than when they found it. So God, I ask that today would be more than just a culmination of many months of hard work, but that today would mark the beginning of a lifelong career in service and recognition to others. I pray those things in your Son's name.
Thank you, Chaplain. Our city is headed by a council of 8 members and led by a mayor. Mayor Alan Joines began working for the city in 1971, retired as the deputy city manager in 2000. He was elected mayor in 2001 and is now in his 5th term. Combined, he has worked for 47 years for the citizens of Winston-Salem. Please welcome our mayor, Alan Joines.
Thank you, Ed. Good morning, everyone. This is the fun part of being mayor, and those 5 terms is having events like this. I'm happy to be joined today by our Mayor Pro Tem Burke, our Chairman of Public Safety, Councilmember Taylor, as well as Councilmember Adams is up here, as well as Councilmember Bessie and Councilmember Larson. We're delighted to be here today. You know, the provision of public safety is probably the #1 role of a local government. And we take that very seriously as elected officials. We work to make sure we're trying to provide the resources needed by our fire and police and other emergency services within the city to make sure you have the training, the tools, the equipment, and the salary to make life worthwhile and make your jobs as easy as possible there. We ask so much of you, and we're glad that you stepped up and answered our call. And now you'll be answering the calls of our citizens over the next years in your career. We do require much of you from fire suppression, fire prevention, education, EMT, and rescue, and a whole bit, so that the training that we'll hear more about is so comprehensive and impressive. So on behalf of our citizens, there are about 242,000 of us in Winston-Salem now that you'll be protecting. I say thank you. And thank you to the families and friends who have supported these men and women who are coming forward to serve our citizens. Chief Mayo, congratulations to you and your team for this. And I also want to extend a special welcome to our guest speaker, Assistant Fire Chief Cooper, all the way from Los Angeles. We're delighted to have you in our community today. So once again, congratulations, thank you, and best wishes for a wonderful career.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem Vivian H. Burke is the longest-serving elected official in our city's history. She was first elected to council in 1977 and is now serving in her 11th term. Across her 41 years, she spent 36 years as the chairman of our Public Safety Committee. Please welcome Mayor Pro Tem and council member of the Northeast Ward, Mrs. Vivian H. Burke.
Good morning. To the mayor and elected officials assembled here, Chairman Taylor and Councilwoman Adams and other council people, to the Fire Chief Mayo and his staff. I want all of you to know how happy I am, and pardon me, the city manager's up here as well, how happy I am to be standing before you. When Mr. McNeil said that I had served 40-plus years, I want you to know the 40 years that I served, I've never missed a meeting or a committee meeting, because I am truly dedicated and committed. To the distinguished speaker who's here, we're happy to have you in our city. And to the ones who are going to be honored today to become the fire people to protect our community. I say thank you. I looked at your pictures and I looked at how excited you seem to be. I want you to be that excited 40 years from now, if you intend to stay as long as I've stayed plus. Our city of Winston-Salem is blessed to have so many people who visit and send us back comments about how they enjoy our city and being in the state of North Carolina. But I want to tell you that the city of Winston-Salem, we consider it unique because we are ahead of a lot of other cities. We work hard to have a pleasant, positive, uplifting city. So I want to say welcome to you who are here for the first time. And I want to say to you who are graduating and to your family and friends, may God continue to bless you and be with you because you are brave ones who step out there to save us. God be with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. In the council manager form of government, the city manager oversees the day-to-day operation and the delivery of services. In his 12 years as city manager, Lee Garrity has championed improved customer service, accountability, and the spirit of us all working as one. Please welcome our city manager, Mr. Lee Garrity.
Good morning. I just want to take a few seconds to recognize all the family members. Truly, when your loved ones join the fire department, in many ways, all of you are joining the fire department. Unlike other positions in city government, they're gone for 24 hours at a time. They're going to miss important school events and other things to protect the rest of us, which we're all very grateful for. But I appreciate you joining us, families joining the recruits with us as we become part of this big team that cares about Winston-Salem. And to the recruits, I'd also say, the thing I've seen over the years with police and fire rookie schools is the bond that's developed among the men and women in those classes. Unlike anywhere else in employment, you start as a group, you spend a lot of time, a lot of tears, joy, going through the process, and that bond is so important. And I'd encourage you to keep that throughout your career. It's a bigger bond than if you played on a football team or a college group. This is 30 years of, in essence, being part of a family together. So I'd encourage you to take care of each other and hold each other accountable as you endeavor on this journey with city government. As the mayor has said, and the Mayor Pro Tem, this city council is very committed to providing you with the equipment, the facilities. Some of you are probably going to be going to brand new fire stations here or completely renovated fire stations in the next few weeks. They are committed to making sure you have adequate resources, adequate salaries, adequate training to make sure that you can protect all of us while we sleep at night. So thank you for coming, and thank the families for being here. Truly appreciate that, and I look forward to seeing each and one of you out and about. Thank you.
Thank you, Lee. The City Council's Public Safety Committee is made up of 4 members providing the resources for fire, police, and emergency management. They are led by a council member of the Southeast Ward who is a 2003 graduate of the Criminal Justice Program at the University of North Carolina Central. Please welcome Public Safety Chairman James Taylor, Jr.
Good morning. I have honor and privilege of bringing you greetings on behalf of the residents of the Southeast Ward. But today I greet you on behalf of the Public Safety Committee for the City of Winston-Salem. I'm here for one reason, well, protocol. I give honor to the mayor pro temp, city manager. I give honor to the chief, to all the fire staff, including our wonderful speaker. And as I was about to say, I'm here for one reason, and that's to look each and every one of you in the eyes, and I mean the recruit class. And thank you for your commitment and your dedication to this city. And I'm here to shake your hand because I'm really appreciative as a native son for what you do. They tell me that the role of firefighters over the past decade, over the past few years has changed. At one point in time, we were solely fighting fires, and now we're doing things like answering calls for emergency medical services. We're on the front lines every single day fighting the cause of the opioid epidemic by administering Narcan and several other jobs and roles and responsibilities. So I say to you, thank you for answering the call to service. To the friends and family who are here today, I think the city manager hit it on the head. They and we couldn't do it without you. As someone who's in public service every day, I know that there are late nights, there are early mornings. I have 3 kids. I miss some appointments. I miss some programs. But overall, we do this every single day for the people of this community. So I just want to say thank you. On behalf of the council, on behalf of the Public Safety Committee, I appreciate what all of you do, and particularly the recruit class. I appreciate what you do and what you will do to help our city to be a better place to live, work, and relax. Thank you.
Thank you, council member. Our next speaker is a big supporter of public safety. A common response from her is, "Show me the data." That sound familiar? She was first elected to our council in 2009. Please welcome the council member from the North Ward, Dee Dee Adams.
Good morning. Welcome to the North Ward. That's where you're at right now. That's what I want to see. I need to see some smiles on you. That's what I'm talking about. You should be very happy and pleased with your accomplishments. And we are very happy to be bringing you into the family. And it's not just the fire and public safety family. It's the family of the whole city of Winston-Salem and its employees, as well as the city. There will be good days and there will be bad days. There will be days when you will have given all that you can give and you felt like you could have given more. But it's okay because you got all of this group and all of that group and all of this group up here. We're going to help you get through it. I am so happy that you've decided to call us your home. Give us a chance. We're not going to say we're going to get everything right either, but give us a chance. And we promise your families that we're going to take care of you. So good luck, and do what you got to do out there in the streets of the city. Because basically, I tell people, no offense to all my other employees, people love a person in a uniform.
Thank you, council member. Trey Mayo began his service to the citizens of Winston-Salem 3 years ago. In the monthly public safety news conference, he often reminds media to share with the public that house fires can be prevented and that protecting lives and property is really a partnership between residents, businesses, and the fire department. He is a 29-year veteran of the fire services. Please welcome Winston-Salem Fire Chief Trey Mayo.
Good morning. Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem Burke, Chairman Taylor, Council Members Adams, Bessie, and Larson. Mr. Manager, thank you all for joining us this morning. And I'm taking a risk here. I always like to recognize the fire chiefs who are in the audience. And I normally do a little better job of surveying the audience than I did this morning, but I know there are 2 here. Chief Mark Reed is here from Wahlberg, and Chief Rodney Miller is here from Advance. So thank you for joining us this morning.
I should have done this before you got started. I apologize.
I would have bent down to the mic, but when I get that close to my paper, I can't read it. My eyes have gotten so old. Assistant Chief Kwame Cooper has been a member of the City of Los Angeles Fire Department for 38 years and currently serves in the Operations Division Central Bureau. The Los Angeles Fire Department is the 2nd largest fire department in the United States, providing service to a population of 3.8 million people over 471 square miles. They respond to more than 1,100 requests for service every 24 hours and log 870,000 unit responses on an annual basis. They have over 3,200 uniformed personnel and operate from 106 fire stations with a minimum daily staffing of 1,018. We've got some ground to cover. LA Fire has 354 pieces of frontline apparatus, including 6 aircraft rescue apparatus, 6 helicopters, 5 bulldozers, 5 fireboats, and 4 foam tenders. They prove the value of all that horsepower as they operate from 8,100 building fires each year, but have one of the lowest fire fatality rates of any major city in the United States. Los Angeles is what I refer to as one of the original ISO Class 1 fire departments. Some of you know this. Several years ago, the fire suppression rating schedule, which is where a municipality's public protection class rating is derived, was modified. And today, it's not as unusual to run into a Class 1 fire department as it was prior to that change in the suppression schedule. But for many, many years, there were only about 24 Class 1 fire departments in the United States. And the City of Los Angeles Fire Department has been one of those for as long as I've been paying attention. LA Fire is using big data and machine learning to drive insight and innovation. Their strategic plan includes provisions for unmanned aerial vehicles, predictive deployment analysis, and building robustness into tactical emergency support and multi-assault counterterrorism capabilities. Under the direction of Mark Eckstein, who is one of the most progressive medical directors in the United States, LA Fire has developed a program where a firefighter paramedic is partnered with a nurse practitioner or physician's assistants to focus on reducing demand placed on fire and medical transport units by frequent users of the system. This is just an incredible organization with so many resources that they bring to bear every day, both in emergency and non-emergency situations, to address needs in the community. And Chief Cooper has had a hand over his 38 years in designing and developing many of these programs. Now, Chief Cooper's bio is in the program for your reading pleasure, and I want to speak primarily to the recruits now. What I suggest is, as you read Chief Cooper's bio, consider the value he brings to the organization outside of emergency services. If you've never been a fire chief, consider that the Chief Coopers of the world are the types of employees we're looking for in the fire service. Those folks who can make connections. Look at his experience in civic engagement, the focus on education, and not only improving himself, but his effort at helping others improve. Now, it's not in his bio, but Chief Cooper's been a member of the Board of Visitors at the National Fire Academy since 2012, where he's worked to improve the value and quality of education of the nation's fire service. And if I were asked to pick sort of a single defining trait of Chief Cooper's character, I would say that it's how he has used his discretionary time. And I think it's what a firefighter does with their discretionary time. That is the time when they're not training, they're not providing emergency services, they're not doing maintenance on apparatus and equipment. It's what you do with that time that is sort of yours to make a choice with that will define your career. And I think if you want to reach the greatest level of success in your career, you've got to be engaged with the fire department, with the fire service, and with the community beyond what the minimum requirements are. So read the trade journals, further your education, work both on technical certifications and executive programs. Make wise choices of your discretionary time, and look at all the things that Chief Cooper has accomplished with his discretionary time, and consider how well those efforts beyond the minimum have served him and his department. It's an honor and a pleasure to introduce to you from the City of Los Angeles Fire Department, my friend, Assistant Chief Kwame Cooper.
Good morning, Class 25. Good morning, sir. I'm a little taken back. I've been introduced several times by different people at different events, but certainly the introduction of Chief Mayo really warms my heart, just to know that I'm still a contributor, considered a contributor in a profession that I truly love. So thank you, Chief Mayo, for that introduction. To the mayor and all of the elected officials that are here today, staff, and everyone that took part in putting this event together, I'm truly thankful to be here for a lot of different reasons, and I want to share that with you during my short comments. I was asked to be brief. Chief Mayo and I, we've been visiting together for the past day and a half, and certainly during time that we spend up at the National Fire Academy. And I asked the chief, well, how much time do I got? Because I can go. Like, and so the chief said, I'd keep it within about 10 minutes. So I took a breath and wrote down some points that I would like to convey after having good, authentic conversations with the fire chief and his current and future direction of the fire department. So it brings me to mind what a colleague of mine's told me when it comes to public speaking. He said, Kwame, always remember the 5 B's. Okay, lay it on me. What's the 5 B's? And he said, be brief, brother, be brief. To the family members, wow. You family, and I mean all-inclusive, husbands, wives, spouses, brothers, sisters, cousins, everyone, all-inclusive, you have truly been the backbone of what has occurred with the recruits in terms of their current accomplishments, but also what role you will play in the future in terms of their professional achievements, but more importantly, the contributions that they make to their community every day, on and off duty. So I wanted to say thank you to the family, because oftentimes it's the small things that you do that makes such a critical difference in giving firefighters the confidence and the strength that we need continually to do the things that we are asked to do. So thank you. I had a chance to find out a little bit more about the Winston-Salem's Fire Department and its history and my conversations with Chief Mayo, and I said, okay, well, Chief, what do you want me to say? I'm kind of at the end of my time period with my department, with Los Angeles City Fire Department, and I've had an exceptional career. And it's not so much about the achievements, it's about the contributions that we get to make a difference in somebody else's life. That's huge. So I said, Chief, what do you want me to say? He said, well, you know, Kwame, just tell recruits how important being innovative is in today's time. And so in a paramilitary organization, there are expectations and constraints, but what the chief wants you to do is to be able to think outside of that in a creative way as part of our continuous improvement of service. That's important. And he also talked a lot about leadership. And he talked about leadership in a respectful way, not so much from the standpoint of who's in charge. That's important because we are in a command and control organization. But leadership from the standpoint of your contribution at your level to be able to add to what it is that we're doing overall. And he talked about that as a value within your organization. I'm kind of giving you some secret stuff here, so I hope you're getting what I'm saying. Because this is what the fire chief is saying. The fire chief is saying that the emphasis of service is on community service when it's not an emergency. The emphasis is on community involvement, making a difference in someone's life before it becomes a risk. And of course, he indicated that many people apply to be a firefighter for the Winston-Salem Fire Department. Thousands. But only a few, like yourselves, are successful. And he talked about that in a way of it being a privilege that you are now entering in terms of a group of firefighters who nationally get to serve our citizens each and every day. So what does that mean? So it means, for instance, there's well over 1 million firefighters in the United States, of which about 3/4 of those firefighters are volunteers or paid. Only about 1/4 are fully paid. So that kind of puts you in context in terms of the country and what it is that the city is compensating you for, not just because that's the most important thing, but because of your willingness to do more than what it is that you're being paid for, which is essentially what volunteers do. So think about that. So before I share with you 3 points, because Chief Mayo said, well, Kwame, you've been around a long time. I didn't know if he was calling me an old timer or not, but in a very respectful way, I'm honored to have served to this date as a member of my department for 38 years. And bigger is certainly not better. We share the same challenges and opportunities of all fire departments. But he asked me to share, like, Kwame, maybe you could share some wisdom, like, out of 38 years, like, what is it that you would say to new recruits? Now, this is new for me, right? Because I'm kind of like at the end of my professional career with my department, but I will remain forever a member of the fire service for my entire life. And so here I stand before recruits who are now entering the fire service. So what is it that I say to you that perhaps could be of value? So one thing I thought about is when I joined the fire service, I was told, young man, there are 5 critical benchmarks that will occur in your career. I'm listening because I'm a new recruit and I'm highly motivated. And I was told that the first benchmark is when you get hired, you're able to go through all of the rigor of testing, and finally, the fire chief, the city manager, the personnel department calls you up and say, hey, do you want the job? So that's significant. And the second one is what you are experiencing right now. Yeah, that's right. You should smile, young man. Absolutely. Is graduation and all of what it took. And then the third one is when you become vested in your pension. So therefore, what that basically means is after a certain amount of years, if your system is set up like that, you're entitled to a minimum pension. And as you stay longer, that number increases. And then the fourth, I was told, is your first promotion. Now, these are fire service benchmarks. This is not family benchmarks because the order would be different. But for the fire service, the fourth benchmark is my first promotion. What an achievement. And the fifth is what I will be experiencing next year, which is when I retire. So I say that because out of those benchmarks, what are the things that I truly get from the fire service? And I want to share these 3 points with you. The first one is your attitude. first and foremost. People love firefighters for a lot of different reasons, as they do other professions that wear uniforms. But be careful not to become intoxicated by that in a way that it causes you to miss your mark in terms of your mission. So your attitude must always be that of one that is centered on, why am I here? As a firefighter, I heard one of the speakers talk about your attitude today and what will it be like 30 years from now. Good question. Your level of enthusiasm today and what will it be like 30 years from now? Good question. And your attitude is the thing that really will dictate like the success or failure of you and or your organization. No matter what the circumstance. No excuses, no matter what the circumstance. It's critically important that your attitude remain focused on the mission. One of the things that I've learned over the years as a way to adjust me, and now I'm sharing all of my comments with the recruits, so please, to everyone else that's here, please don't mind. But one of the things that helps me when my attitude starts to get a little bit fuzzy is I ask myself a simple question when I'm in that circumstance. And that question is, gratitude or resentment? Choose. No matter what the circumstance, am I going to be grateful that I'm here to make a difference, or will I become resentful? Choose. And as a firefighter throughout the rest of your career, you will be faced with that distinction as a result of the types of calls of service that we get from the public. And it's not our response, we are not responsible for judging those of who we serve. We absolutely, quite frankly, don't have the right. The next point that I wanted to share with you centers on the very action that kind of leads to your success, which is teamwork. And I'm sure that throughout the time that you've been in the Recruit Academy that you've gotten a real good taste of teamwork, and you probably have gone through the 5 stages of team development where now you are actually in the time where you're actually performing like with precision. So teamwork is the backbone of how we protect our communities. So there's 2 parts of that. The first part is how we function when there's an emergency. When someone calls 911, it's generally one of the worst days of their life because now they have to reach out and call for help. And during that emergency, it's the manner in which we function based on our training and our experience that's going to help guide us through a successful outcome. Be careful about becoming complacent and also settling for mediocrity, especially during emergencies. But equally as important is when it's a non-emergency. So when it's a non-emergency, what are the things that we know are important? What are the things that we know? Because fire is probably 6% of our call load, and I would suspect that the majority of the calls in Winston-Salem are medically related, and then there's all the other stuff that people call us for. So in the realm of non-emergencies, it's critically important that we are always professional. At 2 in the morning, when someone calls us, whether it's a senior citizen, one of our older adults who's asking for help, or someone on the street that's homeless, it is absolutely critically important that we remain professional. And there's no doubt in my mind that as a representative of the Winston-Salem Fire Department, that that's exactly what you will demonstrate. It is also important that when it's a non-emergency that we truly value diversity. So what does that mean? I'm not just talking about diversity of race, ethnicity, religion, gender. That's important. I'm talking about in the fire service, when it's a non-emergency, to what extent do we value diversity with respect to beliefs, values? What's our attitude toward that? Diversity of experience. When we dig deep into that, it strengthens our team functionally, and it allows us to provide better service to the people within our communities. And of course, it's been said several times, it's been woven throughout comments by all of the speakers that preceded me, and that is the last point that focuses on community service. When I was growing up, I thought I was going to be a professional basketball player. I realized that I didn't quite have the skill set, and found my way into the fire service. And as I think about today, in comparison to 38 years ago, if I had the choice to play in the NBA or join the fire service, I would have joined the fire service. I would have become a firefighter. That says a lot, but that is absolutely absolutely the truth. And so when we think about community service, it shows up in a way that before there's a threat, we are already surveying our particular fire station district to get a sense of what are the risks that are occurring in this district. And before someone has to call me as a firefighter in that fire station, I'm reaching out to that local elected official. I'm reaching out to the community groups in that particular area. I'm reaching out to the residents so that I could provide that public education so that there is no accident that will occur. You get that? Like, this is really personal. And so community service affects everyone because as a firefighter, you have a firehouse in the community that you live in as well. So when the bell's not ringing, what's the added value that we're adding to the communities that we serve? And I know that this is a commitment of the Winston-Salem Fire Department, so you are in a perfect environment to play, to participate, but most importantly, to make a difference in the lives of others. In closing, about 3 weeks ago, my nephew joined the LA City Fire Department. Long process, got picked. So my wife, the one with all of the smarts and wisdom, she says, "Hey, Kwame, why don't we invite Sheldon by the house with his family and just kind of share some expectations." And so we did that. And so he and his girlfriend and their sons were at the house, and we were sharing with them about, like, here's what to expect through this experience of transformation from someone off the streets into the fire service, going through the recruit academy and graduating. And so through it all, one of the things that it really struck me, we were talking, and I said, this is a fantastic career. And my wife stopped me and she goes, "No, hold on, sweetheart. The fire service is not a career, it's a way of life." And that really struck me. And it's absolutely true, as Chief Mayo was talking about, like, so What are the additional things that you will have the opportunity to do outside of what you do when you are at work? Limitless. Limitless. And so I believe that there's no greater gift than that of one being able to serve someone else when there's an emergency. There's no greater gift. And so welcome to that profession, because you will have the opportunity to do that very often. And as you wear your uniform and soon to have your badge presented, one of the questions is, so what have I done to earn this badge? And I say that very respectfully, but in a way to challenge you, because earning a badge is what you have achieved so far. So you've completed Drill Tower, Training Academy, you got the badge, right? But what additional things will you do throughout your career to continue that honor? The enthusiasm that I heard when I said good morning, and you know, good morning, and then someone else said something else, and you said yes, sir, and so that's like magnetic. That enthusiasm, right? It's like intoxicating, and when you go to your firehouse, you will have that level of enthusiasm. And as it was pointed out earlier by one of the electeds, don't ever lose that. Today, I look forward to going to work just as I did 38 years ago, so it's possible. It's absolutely possible. And when in doubt, remember your oath of office. Read those words over again to get you back in alignment, get you back centered, because the community absolutely depends on us on any day at any time. And when they call us, we have to always, always, always be at our best. And I'm absolutely confident that all of you in this class will be able to step up to that challenge. I say to you, congratulations. I say thank you for having me here to make some comments. I salute you, and I look forward to your badge pinning. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Cooper. Each of these graduates seated before you today completed more than 1,200 hours of training and testing to wear the badge. Today, they're prepared to take on the task of saving lives and property every day as they serve the citizens of Winston-Salem. Safety and Training Captain Chris Belcher will join us to provide an overview of what it takes to become a Winston-Salem firefighter.
Thank you. Just to give you a brief rundown of the training that these young men and ladies went through during their time in recruit school, which started back on October 29th. For EMT, they had 204 hours of classroom time in the books, plus the hours they put in at home. I know many of the family members, we told them in the beginning that first 6 weeks of EMT, you might as well shut down your life. During that time, they took 11 exams within 6 weeks, 32 labs, took a final 200-question exam, and they took the state test. On the fire side, they had several fire training hours, over 300 hours. Hazmat training, they had 40 hours of that. Rescue, had over 64 hours plus some, and then EVD, and then they had PT 3 days a week. And this was nonstop. Let me say it's been a privilege to have been one of your recruit school coordinators along with Engineer Brindle, and you'll be missed, and you guys do an exceptional job, so thank you.
Thank you, Captain Belcher. We'll now begin with our special awards presentation. City Manager Lee Garrity, Assistant Fire Chief of Safety, Training, and Special Operations Frank Stowe, and Chief Mayo will present the awards for Class 25. The awards are the Vivian H. Burke Character Award, the Outstanding Teammate Award, and the Fire Chiefs Award. Mr. Garrity?
When you look in the dictionary defines character as those attributes and traits that distinguish a person. And really, in essence, character is the things you do when people aren't looking. The things you do not to get credit, the things you do because your value system internalizes it. The Vivian H. Burke Character Award is named for Councilmember and Mayor Pro Tem Vivian H. Burke, who has served, as we've already said, 40 years of service to this community. And I can personally attest that she works every day. She calls me most days, but she works every day of the week for this community. She served as Public Safety Chair for 36 years. We established this award a few years back, and it is given to the one member of each police and fire recruit class who best exhibits these characteristics of integrity, ethical behavior, team building, and that overall strength of your being. I'm proud today to present the Vivian H. Burke Character Award for Class 25 to Torian Gordon.
I think we have a proud mother out there. I think we have a proud family out there, but you should be proud. It's an accomplishment to get to this point in this recruit school because we don't have an easy recruit school. So I have the distinct honor of presenting the Outstanding Teammate Award. And when I say Outstanding Teammate Award, you get a group of young men and young women that vote to say this is the one person that we feel was outstanding. This Outstanding Teammate Award has to do with attitude. And as Chief Cooper mentioned in one of his points, it's your attitude. It's your attitude that your attitude starts when you wake up in the morning, when you have the realization of that first breath that you take. Your attitude starts then. It's your attitude that says, well, when I go to work today or when I step out in life today, I will set the pace for what I will be today. It will be up to me. No one will change the course of my day. So that's what your attitude should be every day. When you wake up, you get to that fire station, no one change your attitude, no matter what comes your way, because there's going to be difficult times, there's going to be hard times, but nothing should change your attitude when you get to that station or in your life every day. The Outstanding Teammate Award is presented to the recruit who best represents the spirit and the attitude of an outstanding teammate. The individual selected by vote of the class. They are selected by the vote of the class. Through it all, the early morning PT, you loved it, didn't you? Through it all, the weekly test, and back again. Through it all, the early morning PT. I am proud to announce that this year's recipient is Lee A. Moser.
The Chiefs Award is presented to the class valedictorian. Attaining such a high academic standing is no small feat. In the setting of a 40-hour-a-week fire academy, there truly is no rest for the weary. You simply just cannot get away from it. You're in class all day, you study most of the night, you try to find a little bit of time to eat and sleep and spend a few hours with your family. If you aren't prepping for an EMT exam, you're practicing tying knots in the dark, or you're rehearsing the steps to share your breathing air with an incapacitated crewmate. It's one skill after another that has to be mastered to a point that it can be performed at the level of unconscious competence under conditions more stressful than most can imagine. The overall class average in EMT for this class was 87%, and the class average in fire was 89%. And I think that's a testament both to the quality of employees we hire and the quality of training that we deliver. So congratulations to the recipient of the Chiefs Award for Class 25, Chris Marceau.
Now is the time in the ceremony where we hear from the class spokesman about the experience of becoming a Winston-Salem firefighter. Please welcome the spokesman for Class 25, Cesar Munoz.
Good morning, y'all. I'm Cesar Munoz, as you heard. I'm representing my class 25, which I'm honored to be here today. Honored. I want to, before I start thanking the city and the organization, I want to thank the families who made this possible. Without y'all, we wouldn't be here. We will not be here. So thank you for your support, your love. This 6 months would not have been possible. As you've heard, it's been strenuous, it's been long, but it's been awesome, more than anything. I would like to thank the administrators, the instructors, all the people who had a hand in making sure we had the resources provided to us, service day to day. Excuse me, I'm a little emotional. I'm very happy for these guys. They're my family, I love them, and I'm extremely proud of them. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. Thank you, guys. More than anything, thank you. And thank you, Captain Belcher, Engineer Brendo. I am honored. Thank you, all you've taught us. And it's awesome. Thank you. And as we went through our career, started our career, we were able to make our weaknesses to become strengths. At one point, we all needed to work to different things. For example, we practiced objectives over and over again to perform efficiently. Being flexible to correctly complete a task, but no matter the challenges, we learned that making a mistake once is acceptable. It is the second time that it becomes a choice. Once you've made one mistake once, it's okay, you learn from it. But if you make the same mistake twice, not good. No bueno. So, learn from that, continue on. And I hope the beginning of this does not stop your learning, stop our learning, that we continue to grow, to learn from the basics that we have learned here. Thank you guys, I love you guys. And we have a small gift for the chief and for Captain Belcher and Engineer Brendo that I have here, that I have to present. Class 25, sir.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Yes, sir. They're both knives. They have the engraved in Class 25. rescue my
It is customary that we call the name of each graduate and have them come forward to be congratulated by all the individuals seated here on the stage, and to then have the person join them in pinning the badge onto their uniform for the first time. So if you were selected to do the pinning, please move to the right-hand side of the room and wait until your graduate comes down from the stage, and then step out of this door to be able to place the badge onto their uniform for the first time. I'll ask that you hold your applause until all the graduates have had their badges pinned onto their uniforms. Now, please welcome Chief Trey Mayo and Assistant Chief of Fire and Life Safety Tad Byram for our badge presentation. Chief Mayo.
Thank you so much for that gift, class. I really appreciate it. We'll display it with pride at the training center. As you receive your badges today, you need to understand its history and significance. Badges evolved from a coat of arms worn by knights during the Middle Ages. Of course, knights being dressed in suits of armor, they displayed a coat of arms on their shield as a way to identify friend or foe. People being right-handed predominantly, most knights carry their shield in their left hand, and that's why we wear our badges on our left chest. In the center of your badge is a cross. And if you ask the next 1,000 firefighters that you see what that cross is called, most will tell you that it's called a Maltese cross, and that is not correct. This is a Maltese cross. What's in the center of your badge is St. Florian's cross. St. Florian's cross looks like this. This is the symbol that is most widely recognized as being associated with the fire service. Florian was a Roman army officer early in the 4th century in a Celtic region that we would refer to today as Austria and Slovenia. His job in the army was fighting fires, and Florian was martyred in 303, that's a year, in year 303, as the Roman Emperor Galerius campaigned against Christianity. Florian's followers believed that the smoke from his body would carry his soul to heaven. So to ensure that that didn't happen, his executioners tied a stone around his neck and they threw his body in the river Enns, which is a branch of what we would know today as the Danube River that is in present-day Austria. Now, following Florian's being thrown into the river, several miracles have been reported in the area, and it is believed that Florian was responsible for them. So, as a result of that, Florian gained sainthood, and because of his role as a firefighter when he was in the army, Saint Florian became the patron saint of firefighters. So, the St. Florian's cross has 8 points, and each represents a knightly quality. And our expectation is that you commit to those knightly qualities henceforth. And these qualities are discretion, loyalty, mental adroitness, attentiveness, compassion, thoroughness, gallantry, and perseverance. And if you always let these qualities guide your intent, you'll never disgrace your badge. President Munoz, yes, bring him to the stage, sir.
Yes, sir. First row. Right hand shut. One step forward. Punch. Left. Face. Ready. March.
Greg Erickson. Ian Felland. Jason Golkowicz. Torian Gordon. Trevor Green. David Hedges. Sean Hopcraft.
That's it. Shut. Left. Face. Ready. March.
Stephen Johnson. Christopher Marceau. Lee Moser. Cesar Munoz. Yadira Patino. Zebulon Pugh. Garrett Roberts. Arlen Seacreast. Chaston Solomon. Victor Taylor II. Jacob Watson. Thank you. So all of Class 25 now has their badges. Let's celebrate them. Please be seated. It's not often that it happens, but our academy has two classes coming through at the same time. The young men and women you see behind Class 25 is Class 26. If I can have you all please stand. Let's give them a round of applause and root them on through the rest of their training. If you are so inclined, you can come back and see them walk the same path on July 13th. Okay? Thank you, guys. You may be seated. Firefighters, you are all held to high standards and given the challenging task of watching over our city around the clock. Congratulations and God bless. To our audience, please remain seated until Class 25 has left the room. Our reception will take place in the hall behind you. You're welcome to return back into the hallway here to get photos with your graduate if you would like. That will conclude our program. Have a great day.